Good morning and thanks for joining us this half hour. I'm Ashley Garrett. Let's get straight to the certified most accurate forecast this morning with meteorologist Melissa Hall. Melissa, all morning long for lots of us, it's been a foggy start to the day.
Yeah, Ashley, we've had a dense fog advisory out there, and now while it's expiring, that fog has not completely left yet. Temperatures range from out at the coast in the mid 40s, but then look toward Augusta. We've got temperatures close to freezing over in the Augusta area. Now here, we didn't quite make it to freezing, but we do have a few in the western part that are in the mid to upper 30s. So a big cool down compared to yesterday. The winds have calmed down as well, so things are clear at Tybee Island, Hilton Head. But look at Savannah. We have some very thick fog still out there. Now the thickest is down to the south near Darien, but you could see that spot in downtown Savannah. So don't get in a rush this morning. Give yourself extra time. Use those low beams as well. That's going to help you through that fog. Now this afternoon, sunglasses are going to help you because the sunshine's going to rule the forecast. We're into the mid 60s, and look at what we have on store for us, Ashley. If you ordered warmer weather, it is here, including temperatures that are going to get close to record setting. Now we've got a cold front that moves in right after this and drops those temperatures yet again. We'll look at all of it here in a few minutes.
Melissa, thank you so much. We turn now to some breaking news just into our newsroom. Legendary newscaster Larry King is dead at the age of 87. According to Aura Media, he died this morning in Los Angeles. He worked on air for 63 years, 25 of which were on his CNN show Larry King Live. No cause of death has been released at this time, but CNN previously reported he was hospitalized for COVID-19. We'll continue to update this story as soon as new details become available. Here's what else is happening right now. A person of interest now in police custody after the bodies of his parents were found in McIntosh County. Authorities say Jordan Wynn is that person of interest in this murder case. They say Frank and Lynette Wynn, who you see there on your screen, were found dead by another son in their home on Jones Road yesterday morning around 2. At some point later, the McIntosh County Sheriff's Office named this man, Jordan Wynn, the other son, a person of interest who's now in police custody. This morning, the world mourns the loss of legendary baseball player and civil rights activist Hank Aaron. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp has ordered all state flags to be flown at half-staff in honor of him. Nicknamed Hammerin' Hank, Aaron is known as one of the greatest players of all time. His 23-year-long career was mostly spent with the Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves. Several leaders are honoring Hank Aaron. Senator Raphael Warnock, who you see there on your screen, tweets, Hank Aaron was a sports icon who broke records on the field and broke barriers in civil rights. Savannah Mayor Van Johnson posted this picture of himself with Aaron, writing, "He's saddened to hear of the passing of a true American icon." Before Aaron was breaking records, he was a second baseman for the single-A Jacksonville Braves who paid a visit to the hostess city. It's a moment still celebrated at the old stadium at one end of Daffin Park.
The thing that Hank Aaron, this legend of baseball that everyone has come to know and love, played a game when he first started and when he was 19 years old in the South Atlantic League. Now that we get to still play at this place today, it just brings it back to how special this stadium is, not only for Savannah, but baseball as a whole.
And we turn now to your coronavirus headlines. This morning, we're learning what became of the South Carolina governor's visit to Hilton Head Hospital. During the visit yesterday, Governor Henry McMaster said COVID-19 vaccinations are accelerating across the state. The governor says hospitals are increasing vaccinations in the state, but it took a while to get to this point. He says the state is on track to receive 120,000 doses per week. That's the same amount as Georgia, but he says the demand still outweighs the supply.
We had a lack of organization, I call it, or understanding of the protocols at the beginning. Those have been made clear just within the last week. So the hospitals are moving. Those that were behind are catching up.
The governor also addressed reports the state is at the bottom when it comes to testing numbers, but he says that was due to errors at certain pharmacies, and he expects those testing numbers to rise. In South Carolina, state health leaders say there's now been more than 369,000 cases of COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. They say more than 5,700 people have died in the Palmetto State. In Georgia, state health leaders say there's now been more than 707,000 cases of COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. They say more than 11,600 people have died in the Peach State. Well, Florida is one of the states trying to overcome issues with vaccination. And right now, senior citizens have access to the vaccine, but some areas just don't have enough workers to get the doses administered quickly.
There was no cover. There was no chairs along the way to be able to sit down. There were no bathrooms. And once you got in line, you just had to stand there and move in baby steps to even get to the door. I was very disheartened when I did get to the door and they took us in to get our shots. With that many people standing outside, they had 5 people administering the shots.
And Ohio is using a statewide curfew as a way to battle the pandemic. It was supposed to expire this weekend, but much to the dismay of some business owners, the governor is extending it. Restaurants that usually have their busiest times late at night are some of the places hurt the most.
The 10 o'clock curfew has really hurt us. We were hoping that he was going to extend it at least till midnight, give us a couple more hours, and unfortunately it didn't go that way.
Well, according to a September survey by the National Restaurant Association, 40% of American restaurant operators think it's unlikely their business will survive without additional relief packages from the government. After Joe Biden became the 46th president of the United States this past Wednesday, he got to work laying out his top priorities. Aixa Diaz is in our Washington bureau with more.
President Biden says ending the pandemic and boosting the economy are his top priorities, but he's going to need Republican support to carry out his agenda. In his first 2 full days in office, President Biden signed a series of executive orders, many of them addressing the coronavirus pandemic and its economic fallout.
And we have to act. We have to act now.
This week, the president signed a mask mandate on federal property, increased aid to people who are food insecure, and cleared the path for a $15 minimum wage for federal workers and contractors.
Without decisive action, we risk falling into a very serious economic hole.
The White House is now urging Congress to pass a $1.9 trillion relief package to further help struggling Americans and get schools and businesses back to normal. The president hopes for bipartisan support, but Republicans are unlikely to approve a bill with that hefty price tag.
Biden understands he has to reach across the aisle. He has to do things that are agreeable to some Republicans to advance his agenda.
The White House hasn't confirmed when President Biden will meet with congressional leaders to begin negotiations. In Washington, I'm Aixa Diaz.
President Biden made his first calls to foreign leaders as the new commander-in-chief. He spoke with the Canadian Prime Minister and the Mexican president, too. Former President Donald Trump was reportedly considering using the Justice Department to undo Georgia's election results. The New York Times reports DOJ lawyer Jeffrey Clark tried to convince Trump to replace the acting attorney general with him so he could keep Congress from certifying the election results. But the leaders of the Department of Justice say they would all resign if the acting attorney general was fired. Trump declined to comment on this issue. And the Senate is choosing the week of February 8th to hold Donald Trump's impeachment trial. A growing number of Republicans are expressing confidence that their party's members will vote to acquit the former president. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the deadly insurrection on the Capitol should not be so easily dismissed.
The January 6th insurrection at the Capitol, incited by Donald J. Trump, was a day none of us will ever forget. We all want to put this awful chapter in our nation's history behind us. But healing and unity will only come if there is truth and accountability.
Meantime, President Biden is pushing for the Senate to focus on approving his cabinet nominees. The next nominee up for a confirmation vote is Janet Yellen for Treasury Secretary, and that's supposed to happen this coming Monday. We're learning more about the more than 120 people arrested in connection to the deadly Capitol insurrection. One of the people charged, a Texas man, reportedly threatened his family to make sure they would not turn him into authorities. His 18-year-old son says he had progressively been becoming more extremist in the past 4 years.
He said, choose a side or die. And if I chose a certain side, I would cross a line and he would do something he didn't want to do. That can be open for interpretation, though. I did feel threatened at those comments.
Well, Jackson Reffitt, who you just heard from, says he watched his father turn more extreme as he spent time on the internet. He also says he didn't know his father was going to Washington until the day he left. Well, time check this morning, it is 8:39. Coming up, many officers risked their lives to protect the nation's capital from rioters, but one may have stood above the rest. Melissa.
We're also going to have a look at your certified most accurate forecast right after the break. But before we go to break, let's take a live look outside. The fog is starting to clear in downtown Savannah. Thank goodness. That sunshine is going to come out and roll the forecast for today, but we got a lot of rain chances on that 7-day. We'll talk about it right after this break. You can get your forecast, though, anytime you need with that WJCL 22 News app.